Joe Rogan most definitely is embracing discomfort right now, and he was a week ago, and he's lifting with kettlebells. So that's the reason why I want to give you 10 reasons on why kettlebells are so powerful, because maybe you've discovered that Joe was lifting with kettlebells, and now you wonder, are they really so powerful? Let's check it out. Gregory from Lebe here. On this channel, we're about all things kettlebell. So if you're into kettlebells, like the video and consider subscribing. Let's jump into these 10 benefits. Now, one of the biggest things and aspects that I love about kettlebells is it does so many things at a very decent level. That's why I call it the Swiss knife of training modalities. Let's jump into the first one, muscle building. When you grab weights and when you have enough resistance, your body will tap into its muscle building potential. It doesn't do the best job when it comes to hypertrophy, of course, but it does a very decent job. And the great thing about the kettlebell is you do a lot of compound movements and full body movements. So this will give you a very lean and aesthetic physique. Fat burning, calorie burning. I say the kettlebell is a calorie incinerator. When you train with the kettlebell, you lift differently. Your workout protocols are completely different. I remember back when I was the typical split training bodybuilding type of dude. And the first time I jumped into kettlebells, I was like, what is this? I was sweating, I was breathing. This is impossible. But this is what the kettlebell does. It combines so many beautiful facets of these physiological attributes that you can change at once. That's why it'll leave you breathing and grasping for air. That's why we burn a lot of calories, and this may in turn improve your fat burning. The back pain solution. Now, Dr. Stuart McGill says in his book, Low Back Disorders, that the spine or the lower back is very susceptible to endurance training. In other words, it is a great thing if we have a lot of endurance in our midsection, not strength per se, while of course strength is very important. He says the endurance aspect of our midsection, of our lower back and our abdominals is very important. And this is what a healthy lower back needs, a lot of endurance. And this is exactly what the kettlebell provides you. Because when you start lifting with kettlebells, you swing, you clean, you snatch, you work your midsection with multiple reps, depending on the weights you're using, of course. But you will also, and many times, tap into your endurance potential. And this in turn will improve or may improve your back pain. Coordination. I've recently talked to a young man who's doing his doctorate's degree in neurology, and he talked about how important the kettlebell is when it comes to fending off Alzheimer's or dementia, because you have to work on your coordinative skills. For example, a Turkish get-up, that's a set of steps, a choreography that you have to remember and you have to work for it. And when we start with beginners, most of the time, the weight is not challenging them. What is challenging them is their brain. It's like, oh, I gotta think about so many things. And if you want to do it right, yes, there's a couple of steps that you have to remember and work on. But it's the same like driving a car. The first time you sit in the car, you're like, oh, wow, I gotta think about so many things. And then you can even call somebody while driving a car, while I do not recommend you doing this. But this is the coordinative aspect of kettlebells. It's very powerful. It's an endurance builder. We talked about how they can really improve your lower back situation if you have pain. Now, when you work with kettlebells for time, and you engage in the protocol that the kettlebell is made for, then you will build endurance. So we got this. Muscle building, yeah. Coordination, yeah. And endurance, yeah. So many physiological attributes that the kettlebell will tap into once you start lifting with it. You don't want to make the mistake to just treat the kettlebell like a dumbbell or a barbell or a machine. Then you will never tap into the endurance potential. But when you start working for time with the kettlebell, where you say, like we do it, the Stark style, you have 3 exercises for 2 minutes, combine them all together unbroken, then you have 6 minutes of volume with 1 minute break at the end, then you have 7 minutes of volume in your first round. This will tap into your endurance potential most definitely. You have your own gym. 2020 showed us, guys, that we need a possibility and a foundation to train no matter what happens. So if a zombie apocalypse is breaking out and you have your kettlebells at home, you can still lift. And you know what the beautiful thing about the swing is? If zombies are running towards you, the swing, boom, boom. You're always fending off the zombies. So you're like, pat, pat, get off me, pat, pat. And the kettlebell's making sure that you keep that social distance. Isn't it a powerful tool? This is what you got. You got your own gym, guys. Then you have low impact. Now, Pavel Tatulin says, when he was working with guys with high mileage, as he'd like to call it, folks who have pretty banged up bodies because of their athleticism or their athletes, they were in the past, they were athletes and now they have pretty banged up bodies. He says the beautiful thing about the ballistic aspect of the kettlebell, the ballistics, the swing, the clean, the snatch, is that it is low impact. It can be very soft on the joints if you know how to incorporate it. It's similar to swimming. It is time saving, guys. Listen, if you grow older, then you have different priorities. Okay, you have different responsibilities in life. So this changes the game completely. When you're younger, you can hit the gym and you can stay at the gym all day and you can work out 7 days a week. But when you grow older a little bit, you got to be a little bit more careful with your recovery. And then the beautiful thing about it is when you recover well, you can engage with the kettlebell intensively, but not as long because you don't have to. You don't have to spend 1.5 hours with a kettlebell. 30 minutes and you're safe. Now the ballistic element, guys. This is the most differentiating factor of a kettlebell. Yes, you can do a ballistic exercise, for example, a snatch with a barbell. You can do it with a dumbbell. You can do it with a slam ball. But the beautiful thing about the kettlebell is you can do it continuously for longer sets of time, therefore increasing that potential time under tension that your body is working with, increasing the potential of ballistic loading for a very long time, because the kettlebell is shaped like a ball. And because of that look and because it's shaped like this, the kettlebell allows you to engage in the ballistic element in a very unique way. Doesn't mean that you cannot do the grinds like a deadlift, a strict press, a squat. Of course you can do them, but the ballistics, this is exactly where the kettlebell shines the most, and this is the biggest differentiating factor towards all other training modalities. And the beautiful thing about it as well is you can build it into other training modalities as well. It works well with calisthenics. It works well with dumbbells and barbells. That's awesome. The kettlebell has a very interesting complementary nature to other training modalities. And the final point is biomechanical efficiency. I love this. Now, when you understand kettlebell training and you understand how to rack and rest the kettlebell without grabbing it, because when you rack a kettlebell and you swing with it, you work with it, and you rack it, go into a clean or even into a snatch, you work with a so-called hand insertion. So that means the kettlebell is resting on your forearm. I've heard a very great distinction or a very good cue that calls you rest in the nest. That's awesome. So that means you don't have to grab the weight. And because you don't have to grab the weight, you can actually do human movements loaded. This means you can load your frame in a way that allows to leverage the biomechanical efficiency to the max. You have to understand, when you work with weights and you have to grab them, the first thing that gives out most of the time is your grip. And if this one gives out, you are done most of the time. You got to put the weight down. But with the kettlebell, it's different. You can rack it, you can rest it, and then you can continuously work with it, which is powerful. So doing human movements, loading your frame with weights, and doing natural movements, this is what the kettlebell provides you with. Another unique factor that the kettlebell entails. Isn't it awesome? And on a final note, this is exactly what Joe Rogan was talking about. You have to embrace discomfort. Now, my sensei Steve Cotter said the following. He said, discomfort is okay because it forces us to grow. And I would add to it, pain is probably a signal that we've done a little bit too much. So these 10 reasons are why I believe the kettlebell is so powerful. And maybe one of those reasons is exactly the reason why Joe Rogan picked up the kettlebell in the first place. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it, consider subscribing if you want to see more kettlebell content. And if you're looking for a kettlebell course that serves you all the needs when it comes to technique, training, understanding biomechanics, everything all at once, then consider signing up for our early birds list for the hybrid style masterclass. It's our upcoming course. This is my simple and sinister. You got to check it out. Sign up. Link is in the description.